Alright, what's up? This is Ryan. Want to do a little video on my Parker PDF35. This is one of their lower tier models, but it's still really nice guitar. Buddy of mine had the PDF30 for a while, and I tried it a few times at his house. Really liked the feel of it, really liked the playability. They're very light guitars. They're very thin. Nice thin neck profile, nice body contours, makes it really comfortable to play for long periods of time. So if you're gigging a lot, that's important. The one thing that drew me to the 35 over the 30 is this one has a paizo pickup in the bridge. So that gives you a little more flexibility with your tone. You can get some more acoustic sounding tones out of this and only have one guitar, So that's why I went with this one over the PDF30. Otherwise, they're identical guitars. Same pickups, same body, same neck, same color options, all that good stuff. When I was looking for this one, or when I was looking at buying this one initially, I couldn't find a whole lot of videos on the 35. Found a fair amount on the 30, but not the 35. So I figured I'll put this together for anyone else that might be also looking at the 35. It's a really nice guitar. So I'll start out with just some distorted tones. Pretty standard stuff. This guitar does pretty much everything. It's very flexible. That's another reason I love this guitar. It can do almost anything, which is, again, great for live use or recording. A little bit neck pickup now. So yeah, it's got nice distorted tones. I'm pretty happy with the way these stock pickups sound. I don't know exactly what they are. I believe the spec sheet says humbucker pickups. That tells you nothing. But they do sound pretty good, whatever they are. Switch over to some cleans. This thing has some really nice clean tones. The light body, I think, and the longer scale, it has a 25.5-inch scale length. Those two combined make a really nice, chimey, you know, brighter, clean tone. All right, so I'm going to move on now to what makes the PDF35 different from the PDF30, and that is the piezo pickup in the bridge. The piezo pickup has its own volume knob, and there's also another three-way switch which controls the piezo. So that three-way is just the magnetics, a blend, and then just the piezo. And then, of course, the volume is dedicated to the piezo. So in the blend, you can have just your magnetic tone and then bring in just a hint of piezo, or you can, do full piezo volume. Also, if you're running into something else in just piezo mode and you're overloading that, you can roll off your piezo volume or do swells with it or whatever you want to do there. I'll start out with just a blend of the two. Piezo volume all the way up, magnetic volume all the way up, just on some clean tones through the amp. So you can hear a little bit of difference there. I'll switch between them real quick and play the same thing. So there's a little slight volume difference since it adds that in. But I think you're also hearing some added low end and also some added brightness and like clarity and definition from the piezo pickup. So with the clean tone, that blend seems to sound really good. Now I'll do just the piezo. So the piezo by itself sounds pretty good, but I think through an amp, I almost prefer the blend better. Again, and it would depend on what you're playing, what kind of amp you're running through. It is really nice having it just on that three-way there, though. So while you're playing, you could be on your distortion tone, be chugging away on that, switch over to the piezo, hit your channel switch on your amp, and now you got a real nice pseudo acoustic tone. Another thing you can do with this is run some sort of acoustic simulator in your signal chain. I'm actually testing this out with the Boss AC3 acoustic simulator. Nice thing about that is there is a direct line out jack, and there's also a guitar amp jack, so you can use that as a splitter. so that you don't have signal going to your amp all the time when you're trying to use the acoustic signal, and vice versa. It switches those on and off, so you could have a DI running into your PA system, plug that into the direct out of the AC3, and then also have a line run into your guitar amp, have that mic'd as usual, and then just with the push of that switch, switching between those two tones. I don't have that in my live rig right now. Like I said, I'm just testing that out, but it does sound pretty nice. Here's the AC3. So again, that's the paizo through the Boss AC3. If I switch over to the magnetics once, you can hear the difference, because the AC3 is basically designed so that you can run your electric guitar into that and have it sound sort of like an acoustic. And it does a decent job, but it's not quite the same. So here's the magnetics through the AC3. Switch over to the neck once. Then I'll go back over to the paizo. So again, that's, same settings on the AC3 between the magnetics and the paizo. That's just switching between the pickup on the guitar. And I think the AC3 definitely makes a difference. Another thing, when you're running the paizo through your guitar amp, the amp and the speaker are going to color that sound a little bit, because that's just what guitar speakers and guitar amps do. That coloration is what gives them their sound and their character, and that's why we like those amps. But a paizo sound or an acoustic guitar sound is more of a full range sound, and when you run it through a regular amp, that coloration is going to change that. It's going to take out things, it's going to boost things differently than it would normally. So running the paizo through this AC3 here and then through a DI, it gives me a fuller, cleaner tone of what's actually going on. And then of course the AC3 enhances what the paizo itself is already putting out. That being said, though, you don't have to run it separate. Like in my live rig, I don't have the AC3 in there. I'm just running straight into the amp, and I still use the paizo, and you can get it to sound pretty good, but just be aware of those differences in that coloration with using a guitar amp. All right, now I'm going to show a little bit of blending the paizo with the magnetics on a distorted tone. So here's just the magnetics. All right, so that sounds pretty good. But if we blend in that paizo, and this is again, both of them volume all the way up. So as I said before, with the paizo, you get a little more low end and seems like a little more top also. So you blend that in and it sounds kind of like this. So changes a little bit. Again, some of that is volume difference. The guitar is putting out a little more, but there is also some tonal difference there. You can definitely hear it there, a little more bite, a little more twang. So depending on what you're playing, you know, that could help add a little definition. Also, if you need a little more low end on some chugs, something like that, that can help add to that. I like using the paizo blended like that to make this thing sound more like a telly. I do have a telly with a regular, single coil telly pickup. And this thing with just the regular magnetics doesn't quite have that sound. But I find if I blend in the paizo and then use the bridge magnetic pickup, I can get close enough to get by. Let's go back to just the magnetics real quick. So again, it doesn't sound bad, just not quite the same. You can also use just the paizo pickup if you wanted through a distortion tone. I wouldn't run it through a whole lot of distortion, but it does sound pretty good just through a light distortion. If you put it through something a little harder, it sounds a bit like this. For me, it's just a little bit too much high-end, too much presence, just a little overpowering. But the blend sounds pretty good. And of course, with the blend, you can also dial it in, so you can just do like half paizo, just add a little touch to it. All right, I think that'll about do it for this. If you guys have any questions or would like me to elaborate on something else in another video, put a comment below. Thanks for watching.